Good afternoon, Israel Briefers, and thank you for joining me for the Thursday edition of the Israel Brief. I am Rolene Marks, and if you're joining me for the first time, the Israel Brief comes to you from Modi'in in the heart of Israel, and we bring you those top stories making the headlines every Monday to Thursday. We do it in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. Now, before we get into those headlines, I just want to tell you that today's broadcast will contain content that pertains to sexual violence. If you are sensitive to this, if you are triggered by this, I fully understand, but I think it's very, very important that you are notified upfront. It is also Thursday, so I will be bringing you your choices of mentions and morons of the week, as well as taking the audience question. Now, before we get into our headlines, I just want to also take note that the Israel Brief and Lay of the Land are non-partisan. We do not endorse or support any particular political party or political figure, be it president, mayor, prime minister, anybody. Our role is to bring you the news. And on our website, Lay of the Land, our role is to provide a platform for some of the talented writers that we are very proud to bring you on a daily basis. So I just want that said, because I think that some people think if I speak about a particular political figure, it is a sign of endorsement or support. We are here to be completely neutral, and the reason that we are speaking about them is because they are making headlines. So let's get into the first top story. And before we do, I want to remind you that it is day 762 since the 7th of October. And there are still 6 hostages whose remains are being held by Hamas and other terror organizations in the Gaza Strip. It is an absolute imperative that they are returned home to us as soon as possible for a dignified burial. The first story I'm going to start, I debated whether or not to include it in today's broadcast. But listening to Rom Braslavski give his testimony for the first time last night to Channel 13 and then put into the Daily Mail in the United Kingdom, not only is he exceptionally courageous and brave for telling his story, but it is very, very important that we hear it and that we bear witness. As I've said time and again in the last weeks, that the hostage crisis doesn't just end with us receiving our hostages back. It's not just about receiving the living and receiving the dead. It is also about bearing witness to everything that they endured. Rom Braslavski was 21 years old when he was working security at the Nova Festival when he was kidnapped on the 7th of October by Hamas. Now, we are all familiar with that absolutely harrowing footage of him emaciated, lying on the floor of what could only have been a tunnel held by his captors, Palestinian Islamic Jihad. In that video, he was sobbing in tears, saying that he couldn't even stand. His feet were damaged. He couldn't even stand. And last night he shared his testimony. And I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to try and do it without crying. He says, his Palestinian Islamic Jihad captors stripped him naked and tied him up. They stripped me of all my clothes, underwear, everything. They tied me up from while I was completely naked. I was torn apart, dying, with no food. I prayed to God, please save me, get me out of this already, and you just say to yourself, what the fuck? It was sexual violence, and its main purpose was to humiliate me. The goal was to crush my dignity, and that's exactly what they did. Yes, it's hard for me to talk about that part specifically. I don't like to talk about it. It's hard. It was the most horrific thing. It's something even the Nazis didn't do during Hitler's time. They wouldn't have done things like this. You just pray for it to stop. And while I was there, every day, every beating, I'd say to myself, I survived another day in hell. Tomorrow morning I will wake up to another hell and another and another. It doesn't end. I came back from meeting the devil. I don't even know what to say after that. We know, despite the numerous denials of people I can only call savages, if you're still supporting Hamas and if you're still denying the crimes of sexual violence, crimes against humanity that they inflicted on our women, girls and men in captivity, and on the 7th of October, I just have no words for you. I really don't. His mother said after he was released that he was offered treatment on condition that he converted to Islam. Now, there is a chance that YouTube could put a strike against me for bringing this testimony, this kind of content, but I'm not going to shy away from it, because you need to hear it and you need to bear witness, and we need to be the voices of those who have been silenced forever. Last night, Israel received back the coffin containing the remains of hostage Joshua Molel. Joshua was a Tanzanian citizen. He was 21 years old and he was studying agriculture in Israel. He had come to Israel and gone to Kibbutz Nachal Oz just 19 days before the 7th of October. I will never forget the harrowing footage that Hamas so proudly broadcast of them taking him, beating him, killing him, and taking him captive, his remains captive. He was taken from the cowshed on Nachal Oz where he was hiding. Now his body was returned to us today, and I'm going to read to you a statement that came in just a short while ago from his father. His father, Luito Sindwani Molel, says, "I deeply appreciate what the hostages' families and the people of Israel did to tell the story of my son Joshua. Now I am very happy that he has returned to us. I have nothing to give in return, but God bless you. We are still waiting to receive my son's body for burial. Thank you very much to all of you." Luito, you don't have to give us anything. You are part of our family. Joshua is our brother. You are part of the nation of Israel forever. You don't have to give us anything. May Joshua's memory be eternally blessed. Israel also laid to rest today Staff Sergeant Oz Daniel, whose remains were also returned to us just 2 nights ago. He was laid to rest in the military cemetery in Kfar Saba in a funeral attended by thousands, and included the former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, President Herzog, National Unity Leader Benny Gantz, and the former IDF Chief Herzi Halevi, who Oz's father said to him, you are a man of impeccable integrity. You have taken responsibility and you have been with us every step of the way. And I think that is quite an incredible salute to the former IDF chief. Staying with the IDF, and the Israeli Air Force and the Greek Hellenic Air Force conducted a series of drills over Greek airspace during the course of this week. The drills simulated refueling and also refueling in long distances. This is not the first time the two air forces have conducted drills together, and it speaks to the long and enduring relationship that we have, not just between our air forces, but between our two countries. And finally, the IDF is reducing its reserve force. The IDF announced earlier today that for the first time since the 7th of October, they will be significantly reducing reserve forces around the country in various sectors. This includes thousands of territorial defense soldiers, as well as 2.5 brigades. So I think many people don't realize the toll that fulfilling reserve duty takes, not just on the soldiers, who are called up to fight and to defend the country, but also on their families and their businesses, on their marriages, and on their general well-being. So at last they can start returning to somewhat of a normal life. Now for today's question, it comes from the wonderful Sylvia Ehrlich, who says, or who asked rather, when Israel sends teams to help with natural disasters, do countries appreciate it? Do the Israeli teams encounter hostility? What a fabulous question, because as you know, as we've been speaking about this week, Israel has dispatched teams to Jamaica to assist with all who are affected by Hurricane Melissa. Well, Sylvia, you know, one thing Israel does is we also send these teams to countries where we have no formal diplomatic relations with. Our tenet in the army, our ethos as a country is tikkun olam, is, you know, wherever we can fix or wherever we can assist. And as I said to you guys earlier this week, the UN have lauded Israel for its rescue and search abilities and everything that we do on those front lines of natural disasters. So for the most part, countries are appreciative. Even Turkey, who a few years ago when they had that horrific earthquake, our IDF forces were on the ground, as well as NGOs like Zaka, Israel Aid, Igud Hatzalah, United Hatzalah, and various others in a whole scope of different things. In fact, I think Israel sent the second biggest delegation to assist there, and they were warmly thanked in a ceremony by President Erdogan. How he has forgotten, hey guys? But for the most part, people are very, very grateful. And we've certainly seen this in places like Haiti and other places where survivors of these natural disasters who have been helped by the IDF, our doctors, our field hospitals, our know-how, have actually named their children after Israel and have expressed their thanks. But I think it's a great question, and for the most part, Israel is really appreciated. And you know who else appreciates them? We here in Israel. We appreciate everything that our teams, our soldiers do to assist wherever there is some kind of disaster around the world. And now for the moment you guys love it. Hey, who am I kidding? I love it too. Your menschers, your good people, and your morons, your basic idiots of the week. So let's start with the morons. And no surprise, but we have the mayoral-elect Zoran Mamdani. A lot of concern amongst the Jewish community in the United States and here in Israel about Mamdani, who is vehemently anti-Israel, what his policies could be. Will he embolden anti-Semites in New York? Will this make the community very, very vulnerable? A lot of concerns there. I was very interested to hear CNN's Don Lemon actually say that the minute Mamdani gave his victory speech, he seemed to switch personalities into somebody that was very, very aggressive and almost drunk with power. So we're going to watch this carefully. And another, and also no surprise here given the coverage this week, the BBC, who have been exposed as not only splicing quotes from President Trump to make him appear like almost warmongering, but also for the appalling coverage of Israel and the knowledge that they basically pushed a Hamas narrative and painted Israel as the aggressor. Horrific. Basically, the BBC are the mouthpiece of Hamas. And now for your mentions. And I love this one. I love this one because I actually had the privilege of interviewing him a few weeks ago, and he's even nicer in person. And that is Yoel Levy. He runs marathons dressed as Batman. He does it in memory of the Bibas brothers and their mother Shiri. We know Ariel Bibas loved Batman, and he runs in this hell of a suit. dressed as Batman. And if you are on social media, his handles are Jewish Fitness Coach, and we just love him. Other candidates coming in are all the people who helped evacuees on the 7th or from the 7th. That is such a great one, because you know what? It's the ordinary people, it's the ordinary everyday citizens in Israel who raised money, opened their homes, collected whatever goods they could to support these communities from the south and the north, traumatized by the attacks either in the south by Hamas and other terror groups, or from the north, Hezbollah. And we really, really appreciate them and that. That's a really fantastic. And the last mention of the week is the teams, the forensic analysis teams that are working around the clock to identify our hostages when they are brought back. There is, I don't think, enough words of gratitude for Dr. Chen Kugel, who heads the team, and the rest of our forensic specialists. I cannot imagine what they have seen and what they have endured, but they know how sacred this duty is. They know how much the families appreciate this. And Dr. Chen, to you and your team, we salute you and we thank you. So guys, that's it from me for this week. Monday, I will be out in the field, so look out for a totally different looking Israel brief. And you guys know, wherever I go, I try to take you with me. And in the meantime, if you like this content, please hit the red subscribe button. We do have attempts by the other side, I'll call it, to try and shut down our social media, to try and strike it so that it doesn't get coverage. So if you see us, please like us, share, subscribe, tell your friends to, bring everyone to the party. We're on Facebook at Lottel's site, on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on Substack at Rolene Marks, on X at Love the Land 5. I think I did say Facebook at Lottel's site. I think so. Now I did. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. Much love to you all. And I will see you again on Monday. Bye for now.